Good evening, you're watching Estuary TV News. Coming up, spreading Christmas cheer at Scunthorpe Hospital.
We do it by way of sort of our Christmas present to the local businesses.
We take a look at what a difference car parking charges can make in the Christmas retail rush. And my guest tonight is Robert Giddings, a Grimsby man who's currently working in the Republic of Guinea for the charity Concern Universal. Welcome to Estuary TV News. I'm James Dunn, but first it's over to Erica Barker for the news headline.
The headlines today. There has been a fall in the number of unemployed people in our region and in the number of job seekers claimants. In North East Lincolnshire, there was a 25% fall in adult claimants, and for young people, there was a fall of 42% in the last 2 years, although there was an overall increase of 0.7% in Yorkshire and the Humber. We still have the second highest unemployment rate in the UK at 7.1%. Steve Johnston, a manager at Job Centre Plus in Grimsby, outlined how these figures could still fall further.
It's been difficult. I think we have to acknowledge that. You know, the labour market's not been easy in North East Lincolnshire, but I think what we've seen recently is some significant investment into town. Premier Inn, Brewers Fair, and others, and are bringing jobs into the town, and some growing sectors as well, which is really positive news. You know, we've seen some investment into the dock area. That is having a real positive impact in terms of jobs and opportunities.
Getting into an unlicensed taxi is like getting a lift with a stranger. That's the warning from East Riding Councillor Jackie Cracknell, who's calling on people enjoying the season's festivities to do so safely and to not get into a taxi that doesn't bear an East Riding taxi plate below the registration plate on the back of a vehicle. She also urges people to book cabs in advance.
We're really concerned about that, and the reason why is because they're quite often not insured. They're not registered as drivers, so it's really like getting into a car with a stranger. But if you do find yourself in an unlicensed cab, then please, if you've got a mobile phone, ring someone, tell them where you are, where you've asked to go, and ask someone to meet you at the other end if possible.
And Wilson & Co Vauxhall garages in Grimsby are hoping to raise tens of thousands of pounds for St Andrew's Hospice in the town. Going into the new year, the fundraising efforts will continue. The dealerships here and in Scunthorpe are donating £100 for every car sold, whether new or used. We asked them how much they are hoping to raise in total.
£20,000 in December, and then with different initiatives, including our new Corsa launch on the 31st of January. We've got a charity raffle there. We want to make £2,500 on the night. So hopefully through the course of 2015, anything up to about £100,000.
And that's all from me. Goodbye.
Thank you, Erica. Now, as you may be aware, Santa Claus is coming to town, and at Scunthorpe Hospital, they've got one dedicated Father Christmas who's truly committed to spreading Christmas cheer to sick children in the festive period. Chalky White has been dressing up as Santa Claus for 6 years and does it alongside his friends who also dress up as Optimus Prime and Bumblebee from Transformers. It's quite a trio. Tomorrow he'll be visiting the children of the hospital. Our reporter Richard Morris went along to the DHL Centre where he works to find out more about this charitable man.
A Scunthorpe man is once again going to bring children a magical Christmas. Using gifts donated to him, Ian Chalky White goes to the Disney ward at Scunthorpe General and speaks to the children, parents and staff as Santa Claus. The first 2 times Chalky travelled there using his van. He explained to us the history behind the charity.
The third time, it was American Dream, travelled with an American tractor unit. On the 4th time, Army Tank. And on the 5th, it was an Optimus Prime and a Bumblebee car. And again this year, we're going to do the same thing. And it's a real opener for everybody to see, not just for the children, but for the parents as well. And when I'm in the hospital, I'm not just talking to the parents, the children, but I'm talking to the doctors as well as the nurses. Because these poor people are on 24-hour, 7 days a week.
And this DHL worker's secret identity will be taken out tomorrow to Scunthorpe Hospital alongside another kid's favourite, Optimus Prime. He explained to us the plan for the afternoon.
Speak to the children outside, then enter into the wards, and then start speaking to the children where they'll wake away, and I'll be finished somewhere around about maybe going 5 o'clock, maybe a bit later, but my time's my own, so that's why I enjoy it.
Chalky would like to extend his thanks to Teresa, who dresses him up as Santa, Andy Graves and Jason, who drive the vehicles transporting him.
You're watching Estuary TV News. Coming up, it's Dog of the Week. Can you give this hound a home? And Dan Kemp will bring you the sports news. Four years ago, a man from Grimsby travelled to the Republic of Guinea to assist the charity Concern Universal. The anti-poverty charity works alongside other organisations such as UNICEF and UK Aid, and Rob Giddings is working in what is one of the poorest countries in the world, a country currently stricken by Ebola. Earlier, he answered some of our questions via video link on the work he's doing out there. Welcome, Rob. What are the conditions like out there?
Basic services are seriously lacking. Roads are in terrible condition. It can take nearly 1 hour to travel 13 miles on a national highway. Access to clean water and toilets will pose major challenges in both urban and in rural areas. Electricity is a dream. In the capital Conakry, you're lucky to get 4 hours of electricity in one day. In other parts of the country, you're lucky to get 24 hours of electricity in 1 month. Health services are few and far between, and when you can find them, they're very unreliable. Sometimes if you can find a doctor, they're not able to treat you because they don't have the necessary medicines for you to get better. So this makes families extremely vulnerable. Since I've been in Guinea, there's been a cholera outbreak in 2012, a measles epidemic in 2013, but both of these have been overshadowed by the ongoing Ebola epidemic. Ebola has struck fear in the hearts of communities all over Guinea. But different communities have reacted in different ways. Some communities with strong professional leaders have been able to put in place systems to isolate suspect cases quickly. This has meant that they've been able to stop transmission quickly. Some of these communities have recorded some of the highest ever survival rates for Ebola. However, in other communities where local leaders don't believe that Ebola exists, the transmission has been ongoing.
I mean, it is difficult to believe, but is the situation getting any better?
For me, it's hard to say if the situation is actually getting better. The World Health Organization is saying that the situation in Guinea is stable, but from my point of view, I'm seeing there's been more cases. There's been increasing caseload. There's been cases in new areas in Guinea previously unaffected, and there's been increasing community resistance, and there's been little evidence of effective outreach to communities. It is true that the situation in Guinea is better than in Sierra Leone or in Liberia, where people are afraid to go to work in the fields, they're afraid to go to the market and trade. You know, in Sierra Leone and Liberia, we are hearing that life has basically stopped.
And how many patients have you and the charity helped out there?
Concern Universal has helped over 40 million people since the organisation was created in 1976. Our Ebola response is focused on community education, and we are supporting communities in Guinea, Gambia and in Senegal to prepare and react to Ebola. We work with whole communities in the best way to respond to crisis, whether it's Ebola, cholera, or flooding, or famine. We then link these communities with other local actors, for example, the Red Cross and other government services, so that they're able to continue without further support from us. In Guinea, we've been able to train 250 community health workers on Ebola, and we've been running education campaigns and simple prevention measures which have reached over 50,000 people.
So how many countries have been affected, and can you see a light at the end of the tunnel?
Since the beginning of the outbreak, Ebola has affected Guinea, Sierra Leone and Liberia significantly. Nigeria, Spain and Mali have all had imported Ebola cases which have infected another person locally. Fortunately, Nigeria and Spain have been able to stop Ebola transmission within their borders. So Senegal and the US have also had imported cases which luckily didn't affect anyone else locally. The UK, Germany and several other European countries have treated Ebola victims but have not recorded transmission within their borders. In Guinea, the World Health Organization is saying that the situation is stable. However, from my point of view, I'm seeing an increasing number of cases and increasingly more areas becoming affected by Ebola, increasing community resistance, and increasing mistrust of the government, and little effective outreach to communities. Unfortunately, at this stage, I cannot say numbers are decreasing. Over the past few days, there have been over 50 recorded suspect, probable and confirmed cases in Guinea.
Rob, give me an idea of the scale of the containment operation.
There are many different agencies focusing on different areas of the response. Some are focusing on treating medical cases of Ebola, and other organisations are there just working directly with the communities. There's a strong French presence in Guinea because it used to be a French colony. The UK has stronger presence in Sierra Leone, likewise the US and Liberia. Recently, a delegation of around 100 health workers arrived from Cuba, which is a huge boost for the Ebola response in Guinea. Our work, Conseil Universal's work, is focused on community level response. We work with communities to help them put in place systems to protect themselves.
Rob, it's brilliant what you're doing, but you must be looking forward to being home for Christmas.
Yes, of course. I haven't been back to the UK since August, and I'm looking forward to visiting my friends and family. I'll be back in Guinea in the new year, ready to continue working with Conseil Universal and to continue our activities in Guinea.
Thank you very much, Rob. It's interesting to hear what you're doing out there. Now, next on the show, we're going to be talking about the controversial Channel 4 documentary Skint, which finished this week. As many will know, this series was based in Grimsby's East March. Before it began filming, it caused more uproar, but now it's ended. Did it cause the trouble people thought it would? We sent our cameras out to ask people, has Skint damaged Grimsby's reputation?
Possibly, but I think if you approach anything with a realistic view, you must know that every town has its good and bad elements.
Yes, I do. I haven't watched it, I daren't. The trailers were enough, and I have several friends who live across the country. They've all watched, and they said, surely it's not like that.
I did think so to begin with, but when you think about it, every town, every city has got these areas, and so therefore I don't think we're any different to anybody else.
No, I don't think so. It's only a snapshot view of what the town is. I mean, I didn't grow up here, so it's not really a reflection of me anyway, but I just think it's sad.
Grimsby is, well, look at it now, it's not too bad when you weigh it up. But there is, in every town and every little place like this, there's always some hooligans and
I only watched the first programme. I do believe that every town has a section of unfortunate people. And so I don't think it's just Grimsby. It's extremely sad, and we need to not ignore that. We need to think as a society about our obligations and how we deal with those things.
A week today and you'll probably be just settling down on your sofa after Christmas dinner. But to get to that point, how many times will you have been food or present shopping using one of our area's car parks? Depending on where you've been, how much have you spent? Dan Kemp went to see what one of our local councils has done to give the gift of free parking.
The last weekend before Christmas, a time for rushing around frantically to find the perfect gift for loved ones, but it's not cheap. And car parking charges are an extra burden, unpopular with both shoppers and retailers.
We do this before Christmas. This is the 5th year we've done this, sort of take car parking charges away for the run up to Christmas. And we do it by way of sort of our Christmas present to the local businesses. We know what a busy time potentially it is for businesses, and it's our contribution to try and help our small retailers.
To remedy that, the East Riding Council abolished car parking charges on those vital December weekends, much to the delight of local shopkeepers.
It's an extra shot in the arm for local businesses, and the council teaming together with local traders and saying, please shop locally, support your traders in the run up to Christmas, and we can help out financially with the cost. All year round, the Tesco car park is free for 3 hours anyway during the week and at weekends, so lots of opportunities for people to come the rest of the year as well.
Car parking charges have long been a problem just across the water in Scunthorpe, but the recent introduction of free parking on Saturdays has highlighted a new problem.
It's free all day, which sounds good, but unfortunately there's no movement of cars. So people tend to park there all day and then customers can't find parking. So it does work against us in a way. Because we'd lost so many shops in the town, customers were feeling that they couldn't really justify paying charges just to come, say, to the bank, and there's no other shops to buy, to look at. So people would just park on a parking bay, which gave them a half-hour slot, and then just go off.
But here in Beverley, retailers are grateful for any stimulus they can get in the December spending spree.
We'd love it all year round, but I think we both know that's not going to happen. I think the main thing is that in the most important trading time for all the businesses in the run-up to Christmas, the council's doing what it can to help, and I think that's an important step in the right direction.
Thank you, Dan. Now you're watching Estuary TV News. Now Dan Kemp's back, as if by magic, with the Sports Bulletin.
Scunthorpe United set an FA Cup record yesterday evening in their second round replay with Worcester City. The match ended 1-1 after normal and extra time and went to a 32 spot kick penalty shootout. The Iron came through 14-13 with Miguel Lara scoring the winning penalty. Next up for the Iron is either Chesterfield or MK Dons in round 3. As we told you yesterday, this Saturday sees Hull RUFC and Hull Ionians clash at Brantingham Park in the second Hull Rugby Union derby of the season. Eyes won 44-10 back in September, but coach Alex Crockett isn't taking the weekend's game for granted.
I'm sort of new to the club this year. I started in June, but you can tell sort of there's a different atmosphere whenever there's this local derby, and everybody wants to play and makes selection tough, and people are more disappointed, and yeah, there's a different atmosphere around the place.
Hull FC and Hull Kingston Rovers will compete for the Clive Sullivan Trophy every January, starting next month on Sunday, January the 18th. The game will kick off at 2 p.m. and honour Sullivan, who scored over 250 tries in his 352 appearances for the Black and Whites. The trophy is being contested in the first league meeting of each side's season, but from 2015 it'll have its own pre-season fixture. There's another big night of boxing in Hull on Saturday. Hull home boxer Samir Munemni goes up against Di Davis in a British featherweight title eliminator at Hull City Hall. Samir's record stands at 14 wins, including 4 by way of knockout from 16 fights. And that's all for the sport.
Now, in another of our weekly features, we visit Sangreet Kennels to see who needs to find a new home.
Yeah, we had a tan and white Staffy dog. Seems fairly placid in the kennels. Don't do leads, but we find that Staffies are better on harnesses. They're more controllable. He is a bit hyper, but we do hand out dog's trust vouchers, which can get him castrated, which should calm him down. In the kennel, he seems fine. He's friendly, no chewing. So another one that's looking for a good home for the winter months.
Now next, tennis clubs, skate parks and playing fields are just a few of the places that will benefit from £300,000 worth of funding for Lincolnshire from Sport England. It will help people try new sports they've never tried before, and Dan Kemp went to give one a shot.
Sport is something that is in everyone's life, either directly or indirectly. And every 4 years, the Olympics thrust sports we perhaps don't see every day into the limelight.
Following obviously the Olympics is obviously over 2 years ago now, so we're really trying to continue that Olympic legacy. We're trying to, get clubs to open the doors to younger people, because obviously they help to make clubs grow. And obviously with the risk of, the rise in obesity rates that we're finding all the time in the news, we're really trying to get young people trying sports and doing things, after school and in the evenings.
To get more people involved in shooting, because the age range is up at the higher level, so I think the average age is about 57. One of the problems I think we have is that shooting isn't one of the sports that advertises itself quite well. So my role is to try and make people aware that there are various forms of shooting.
The Sportivate programme, being run by Lincolnshire Sport and funded by the National Lottery, are striving to get more semi-sporty 11 to 25-year-olds engaged.
Sportivate's a programme for young people aged between 11 to 25 to take part in 6 to 8 weeks of sport, a sport that they might not necessarily try, and local clubs and organisations can apply for funding to take part.
The Sportivate project that we've had, we've been able to get Georgina Geeky up, who is the Olympic pistol shooter, and she came along on the Sportivate session and worked with 2 of the local schools. We had about 140 children go through it, and both of the clubs that were involved have got new members from that.
And the success of the project can hopefully be harnessed by the clubs to boost their memberships and engage participants. Market Raisin's Small Bore and Rifle Club have recently been awarded £76,000 for a complete redevelopment of their site on Lammas-Lees Road by Sport England's Inspired Facilities Fund, and it's hoped it'll push the club onto the next level and encourage the next generation of talent.
Our plans are to rebuild the clubhouse and take the firing points from 1 to 4, so that means that we can quadruple the number of people that come and take part. We can simulate competition shooting, so we do a thing called shoulder to shoulder where people are stood next to each other, and being as we've only got 1 firing point, that can actually be a disadvantage when they go out and shoot at other clubs.
Thank you very much, Dan. Well, I'm afraid that we have run out of time for today's show, but don't forget that we're always interested in your stories, your views, or if you've even got any events coming up. If you do, please get in touch in the usual ways. You can contact us through either our Facebook page or Twitter. Just search for Estuary TV on either of those. The details are on the screen. You can email us on news@estuary.tv, or you can just pick up the phone and give us a call on 01472 315561. Thanks to all the guests and all the people who appeared in today's show, but until tomorrow, bye for now.
Hello and welcome to Estuary TV's weather. Friday, noticeably colder and very windy, with a risk of a few showers, long spells of sunshine expected, with a maximum temperature of 7 degrees. Saturday, cold and windy again, with a few showers, these clearing towards the evening, and a maximum temperature of 8 degrees.